What's up, y'all? Good evening. Happy Wednesday. It is still Wednesday for another 12 minutes for me. So, my apologies for being late. Shout out to the replay crew because I know most of you will watch this on the replay. I'm seeing that this late night time is not popular. I already kind of knew that, but I'm getting a reintroduction to that, but I look forward to your commentary when you see this in the morning or during the day. Lisa said, I'm sure Lisa held on as long as she could. Shout out to Lisa. Hey, Mark, this is a great question. Looking forward to hearing your opinion. Oh, I come from the planning perspective where you used to tell people how many sessions they were allowed to have, excuse me. And I always knew it was never enough, but never thought of the back end. Okay, so here we go with the answer to this question. The reason why I'm answering this question is because in one of my coaching sessions, which, by the way, if you would like to work with me, where I work on goal setting, I work on motivation, I work on reducing anxiety and depression, I do not diagnose. You have to, if you need that, you have to get that on your own from your psychologist, psychiatrist, psychotherapist, nurse practitioner, whoever you decide to go to. And I have information on my page. I have videos on my page that kind of help you narrow down which kind of professional service that you need. But if you're looking for something that is more like mentorship and somebody with shared experiences that can tell you from a perspective of, I've been there, I've gone through it myself, I'm your guy. So this is going to be pretty quick. One of my clients said to me today that they have had problems with psychologists in the past because they felt like the psychologists were talking to them in an indefinite way where they were talking as if the therapy was going to be something that is a forever thing. And that person said, I did not want to see it as a forever thing. I wanted it to be a thing where I got some tools and skills to help me cope with life better, to where I could go out and not have to receive counseling sessions. Now, this is what I'm going to say about this. This is not a black and white thing. And the reason why I say that is because there's so many varying levels of mental health disorders. And there's so many different reasons why somebody comes into a counseling session. I can give hundreds of examples. Somebody could have just gotten out of a toxic relationship or some kind of relationship that causes them trauma. So they might have some kind of situational trauma that they need a temporary solution for. Or they need not a temporary solution, but they only temporarily need to see somebody for that. So they can go and have 3 months of sessions. And then once they've kind of gotten through those initial hurdles and they've been given the toolkit, they're out of there. They don't have to go back. There's other people who have very severe psychosis to where they're having hallucinations or hearing voices or seeing things. um they have certain diagnoses, maybe a bipolar, paranoid, schizophrenic, things like that, where if they do not have a combination of certain medications and also talk therapy in combination for the rest of their life, it kind of throws them off their axis, and you don't know what's going to happen if they don't continue those treatments. But this is the part that I can say from 10 years of professional experience in the field, and in combination with probably what 5, 6 years of receiving my own services, whether that be therapy or whether that be psychiatry or whether that be nurse practitioner, I guess in some cases peer counselor to a capacity. um what I can say is that a lot of these professionals, and mainly more of the therapist than anyone, more likely a therapist than a peer counselor, they don't necessarily treat as if I'm giving you the toolkit and then you're going to take the tools and use them on your own. It's kind of like you're going to come in every week. We're going to create this treatment plan. We're going to put the goals in the treatment plan. We're going to see the barriers. We're going to see if you've reached those goals at the end of whatever time period it is. And then if you have, we just keep generating different things and generating different things kind of indefinitely. And I said to this client that I was speaking to, the best coaches at anything, it doesn't just have to be a mental health coach or a peer coach like me. It could be a physical fitness coach, or it could be a life coach. It could be any kind of coach. I think that the very best ones are the people who have a goal to see you for a time to help boost whatever it is that needs to be boosted, whether that be your self confidence, whether that be your organizational skills, whether that be helping you to locate your tribe, whether that be whatever it is. The ones that are the best are the ones that are like, anybody who walks through these doors, or everybody who calls me up or talks to me on Zoom or whatever mode that you're using to deliver your sessions to them, their goal is like, this person is a student. I want them to become the master. And in this case, it's not even necessarily that the master is somebody who's now doing what they're doing, but better. But it could just be they have mastered what they need to do for themselves, and now they can move on. Therapy is a continuous thing where you analyze, evaluate, and reevaluate. It's just like if you get a job. I remember one time my life coach, Char, was like, what expectations do you have for your job? What have you vocalized to them that you expect them to provide for you? And I was like, hmm. And this was for a new job, mind you. And I was thinking, I don't really do that, because I think to myself, if I gave them a list of my expectations and I'm brand new, um, they might think of me as a troublemaker, somebody who's ruffling feathers. But she basically told me, a closed mouth don't get fed. That's one thing. And number two, if you go into the job without laying out expectations, now you're going to find yourself in the same position that you were last time. Like if you left one job to get to another job and you said, I'm just going to go into this new place and hope that these things that weren't happening at the old place won't happen. Chances are the same things that happened in the last place are going to happen at the next place if you have not specifically strategized for otherwise. So that was my long and short answer to that question. How long should you continue to get treatment from your psychotherapist? One, don't think that you have to set some hard time limit where you're like, I'm only going to see them for 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months. If you need this person indefinitely, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But also, something that we're not told, and I'll tell you why we're not told this. We're not told that it is within your right to have a goal to do the therapy for a time and then decide not to do therapy anymore. Because of the way the system is set up, we are pushed to just keep going every single week, no matter whether we feel that it is assisting us or whether it's not, whether we feel that we're making constant progress, whether we feel that it's actually beneficial. It is encouraged for us to just continuously go with no end in sight. So, in the same way that Shar told me, you've got to decide what you want out of your job scenario that you go to, no matter where you go, or what you want out of your personal independent job. It's the same thing. You have to decide beforehand what you want out of your therapy sessions. Like, generally, what is my expectation here? Do I expect that I'm going to be in here for a month while I work through some kind of small issue? 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, um, forever, you know, that's really on you to decide. And also deciding it right away and then changing your mind is okay too, because we're changing. There's no way that you can go in and say, it's going to take me 2 weeks to get out over my trauma, or it's going to take me 4 weeks, or it's going to take me 6 months. Everybody is different, and you don't know exactly what's going to be required and how long it's going to take until you actually sit down and start doing the work. So don't be afraid to do the work. And your answer is the correct answer. I know that might sound political, but right now, I've seen over the course of my lifetime many psychotherapists, psychiatrists, and nurse practitioners who were all helping me with different things. And to some extent, they were all helpful. And I'm not even saying that I will never go back, but it has been, wow, 3.5 years since I have actually received any kind of mental health services like that. But like I said, there's no time that's too short and there's no time that's too long. The only thing that I would say about the short side of it, the short end of the stick, is that you can't go once or twice and expect some kind of major change to be made. I would personally recommend that if you are trying a therapist for the first time, or even if you've done therapy before and you're trying to go back to it, I would recommend trying to give whoever you get at least 90 days, because the first month is really just going to be paperwork and a feeling out process that really has nothing much to do with anything else that you're going to be working on, is what I'm trying to say. And then going into month 2, the getting to know you period is kind of fading a little bit. You know them a little bit better. You trust them a little bit more. And then, as time goes on and time goes on, that's when you really see, is this person helping me with my issues, or do they resonate with me? Do they motivate me? And you determine whether you're going to keep going with them. But also, you have to be prepared for one more thing that I did think of before I go. I remember I finally found a therapist I really connected with after several that I did not. And this person ended up leaving. And I had never experienced that before. I think I was seeing them for maybe a year to a year and a half, which was a long time for me. I had just finally opened up and started trusting that person maybe a year in, more than a year in. So we had about 4 to 6 months of this trust. And when they left, I was devastated and I was like, I don't want to get another therapist. I did end up getting another few, and maybe they were good. Um, I was probably a little biased because I was comparing them to the one that I had that I really liked. So you have to be prepared at any point that you may have to let them go. You may have to let them go, but don't necessarily let that be the stop of your journey with therapy, because there's always going to be somebody out there to take their place. Jump up in there with an open mind and an open heart. And if it genuinely, after the time has gone by and you realize that person's not working for you, you can move on. I hope that this assisted somebody. And I love doing these topics because I have endless amounts of them from my very large amount of experience, both delivering some of these services and also receiving them. So I hope everybody has a great night. Shout out to the replay crew again. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more amazing content. Good night.